Ashley. So I'm here as a bit of a refresher for the circles.
Welcome. Natalie, do you want to go next?
Hello, everyone. I am Natalie Plouffe. I am, I believe, the latest addition to the team. I just joined last week, and I will act as the project coordinator for Southern and Eastern Ontario. So, merci de m'avoir ici. Thank you for having me. This is all new, by the way. This is not a refresher. This is like an introduction.
No worries. Well, feel free to ask as many questions as you have. Nanette, do you want to let us know where you're at?
Hi there. Yeah, I'm new, I guess, to the PARO circles. This is completely new to me as well. I'm still working on getting my business up and going, and I'm close, very close. I think in the next couple of weeks I should be in place to get going in at least.
Okay, amazing. What's your business? What's your business idea?
It's going to be a janitorial sanitation wholesale company, wholesale retail,
Okay.
with e-commerce.
All right, sounds great. What about you, Larita?
Hi, sorry about that. And I'm from Aurora, Ontario. And I just found out about this meeting last week from my business coach, Elizabeth. And I'm still kind of getting started. I'm still getting my feet wet, and excited to hear about this new program because it's new and unfamiliar to me. So I just want to learn more about it.
Okay, excellent. Welcome. So Kate.
Hi, everybody. My name's Kate. I work with PARO as a circle coordinator. I'm also fairly new to PARO, so this is my first time participating in this type of presentation, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Okay. All right, so we'll probably just jump right in. Feel free at any time as we're going through the presentation just to unmute yourself and ask questions or kind of interject. Maybe I'll let Kate, if you can watch the chat a little bit, because
I can do that.
Presenting, it's a little tricky on the chat end of things. But yeah, you can either pop your questions in the chat, or if you just want to unmute yourself and get my attention, that works as well.
I have one quick question.
Sure.
Before I was off sick, it was Nefri was the circles person. Am I interpreting this as one of you are the new circle person?
Yes. So Nefri's moved on to a different company. Okay. Kate is taking over as the main circles coordinator. Okay. I was doing circle coordinating alongside Nefri, and I've taken a different position as well within PARO. So this is kind of the handoff. This is the baton pass to Kate to take over for this session. So
Susan, I have Nefri's old email, so I am circles@paro.ca.
Okay.
Just so for your information, you can always ping me too. But
and I think Natalie is the same position as me in a different area.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, perfect.
Nice to meet you, Susan. Maria suggested that you and I connect next week, just for an introduction.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome.
Sorry, we can go now.
Okay, so I'm just going to share the screen for the presentation piece so everyone can see it. It's not showing you something wonky. Okay, perfect. Oh, we've got a couple people in the waiting room. I will admit them. Okay, so I think everyone who's on this call has at least a little bit of familiarity with PARO, with our values of cooperation, ownership, integrity, responsibility, simplification, and peer support. The Peer Circles program is a foundational program that PARO offers, and it's a really good program for entrepreneurs at all different stages of their business. PARO was founded in 1995. It's a not-for-profit charity that works to empower women, strengthen small businesses, and promote community economic development across Ontario, and PARO is Latin for I am ready. So the peer lending circles there's a bunch of different functions of the peer lending circles. So one of the functions is to provide women with seed financing to launch and grow their enterprise. It's a micro lending program, and there is some non-repayable portions, or sometimes we call that a grant portion, although that's not quite accurate. We call it the NRP, or non-repayable portion now. We also, the peer circles can help you be more self-reliant and sustainable in your communities. It helps you connect with women and network with like-minded individuals. It's where peer pressure becomes peer support, and it gives access to appropriate resources, required skills, training, mentorship, and experiences in business and entrepreneurship. So one of the kind of foundations for the circles is that evidence suggests that you're up to 7 times more likely to survive as a business if you have peer support. So that's a study that was done on women entrepreneurs. So it's a function that's really critical for women entrepreneurs, especially in that early stage of business, to have other women who they can talk about other business related topics with. So peer lending circles, they help. They're any women who's living in Ontario, and actually we're expanding this program to across Canada as of right now, but for right now, our circles are in Ontario only. They're self-selected groups, so we don't put you in a circle. You have to network and find a circle. You will have support from your business counselor to do this, and we do have opportunities for you to meet other people who are looking for other circle members, but you still have to decide that those members are the right members and the right fit for you in your circle. They're small groups between 4 and 7 women. You have to be 18 years of age or older to join a circle. Now, there is a little bit of flexibility on this, but you can't access the lending stages until you're 18 years old. So if you're close to 18 years old, you can join a circle for the peer support aspect, but the lending piece wouldn't be available until you're 18 or older. So a PARO circle will have a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 7 women in it. The yearly membership is an annual membership fee of $20. So all the members do have to pay the $20 fee. All of the members will have their assigned counselor and advisor to mentor and support you as an individual. And if you need help as a circle, you can access either the circle coordinator or your counselors to assist with any assistance you need as a circle. If you are accessing the stages of lending with your circle, you'll do that through your individual counselor. So you'll access the application forms with your counselor. You'll work on them with your counselor and submit the forms to your circle for approval. And then they get submitted as a whole application once the circle approves your application to PARO. So in order to form a circle, you'll need to do a circle formation meeting. There's some paperwork that we have to go over at the circle formation. There's some documents and resources that we talk about. Each of the circles will establish a joint bank account, and the bank account is for loan defaults only. So it's an account that will only have enough to cover one payment of any of the people who are in a lending cycle. So it's not a large account. It's the only kind of joint financial piece that the circle does. And we'll talk a little bit about the e-fund a little bit later as well. So you'll need 2 members that are on this account. So you need 2 signatures to make any withdrawals from this account on behalf of the circle. And each member commits to attending monthly meetings. So once you get formed as a circle, there is a lot of autonomy in how you guys operate as a circle. You can choose to do in-person meetings. You can choose to do virtual meetings. You can choose to set your circle meeting at a specific date each month, or you can be a little bit more flexible. Some circles, they set up other forms of communication, like having a WhatsApp group is something that works for a lot of circles for communication between circle members, and that support that's needed between meetings. So there's a lot of flexibility in how your circle chooses to operate and communicate with each other. Okay, so benefits of becoming a circle member are access to the microfinancing grants and loans. It helps you build credit as a business. You can get some special member access and reduced rates for certain events that PARO runs. You get to establish a network and a group with like-minded women that help mentor each other and receive supports one-on-one and as a group together. We have different online resources that you can access both through the circle as well as through your counselor, and Go Forth is one of them. We also offer a lot of training opportunities in our biz camps. So those are things you should discuss with your counselor if they are of interest to you. And circle members can participate in strategic planning, input, and can join the PARO board of directors if that is something you're interested in. So there's basically two ways that you can become a circle member. You can form your own circle. So finding between 3 and 6 other women to join you. You can be supported in this networking process from your counselor, or you can join an existing circle and you'll connect with that circle first, and then they'll discuss whether you're a good fit for their circle, and then they'll onboard you. So to form your own circle, there are basically 4 ways that we support you in networking to form your circle. And the first one is to encourage you to look at your existing network, the people who are in your life already, who might be a good fit as a circle member, who are already in the entrepreneurial space or thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, that you already have that level of trust and you know that you like them already. So that's a really good place to start. If you can already accumulate 1 or 2 circle members just from your existing network, it goes a long way and it shortens the process quite a bit. We also have regular, at least twice a month, we have Circle Up meetings. Circle Up meetings are virtual networking events that that a counselor from PARO will run, where you can attend just for the networking piece, but the idea is that anybody who is looking for circle members can attend, meet other people looking for circle members. We also have a form that you can fill out that so you state your intentions of what you're looking for in circle members, some of your strengths, what your business is all about. And we use that form to try and match you with similar people that are looking for similar things in their circle members. And how that works is that once you fill out the form, you'll get an email with an introduction to a bunch of other women who are also looking for circle members. And you, as a group, you set up your own meeting, and then you report back on whether that's a good fit. And then we kind of go from there, whether you have 1 or 2, or whether the whole group was like, yeah, we gelled great, we're gonna move forward as a circle. So that's kind of the third thing that we can do to help support you as in finding circle members. And then the fourth is that you can work with your counselor to see if they have other PARO clients that they know of on their caseload who are also looking for circle members. And we can, as counselors, we can provide an introduction to other people looking for circle members. So those are kind of the 4 key ways that you can network and find other circle members. So the first step is getting into a circle with 3 or more other like-minded women. This can be a bit of a challenge to kind of organize and find other women that are looking for circles as well. And it can take a little bit longer. It's not an easy path, or it's not a very quick path, because it is important to make sure that you're finding the right circle members. If you're in a rush to get into just any circle, it can be there can be some dynamics in that circle that don't really work well for you. So it's important to think of as you're networking and looking for circle members that you may have a relationship with these women for an extended period of time. So rushing into a circle with the wrong fit doesn't often work out that well. Now, that's not to say you can't leave a circle and join another circle if that works. That happens all the time. That's perfectly okay to kind of move from one circle to the other if you find that there's a better fit for you in a different circle. So those are just some things to keep in mind when you're starting off as a circle. You guys, as a circle, need to at least have enough of that kind of organization to get through the steps of forming a circle. So if you're already kind of seeing some of those asynchronicities happening early in this networking process, you might want to be a little bit selective in who you decide to form a circle with. So once you have your group of people, you want to choose a name for your circle. So you can either request the name on My PARO Path, or you can message the circle coordinator, which is going to be Kate, at circles@paro.ca, and let them know who the members of your circle are and who and what your circle name that you've selected is. As a group, you're going to organize a circle formation meeting with one of the circle coordinators. Right now, that's Kate. This is a meeting that all of the circle members have to attend. So your whole group has to be able to be present for this initial circle formation meeting. At this meeting, we'll go over some pretty critical documentation. We'll talk in depth about the e-fund, the function of the e-fund, how to set it up, who the signees should be. The e-fund can be a bit of a stumbling block for people to kind of wrap their heads around what its function is, and also figuring out where you're going to establish your e-fund as a group. Each individual member is going to make sure that they are already onboarded with a PARO counselor. So you have to be connected with a PARO counselor and have completed the intake form already. And then once you have completed the intake form, you have access to My PARO Path, which is our portal. From the portal, as long as the circle name has been registered, then you can register yourself into the circle. So that's something that you'll do usually. If you haven't done it before the circle formation meeting, we can either walk you through it at the circle formation meeting, or we can send you email instructions on how to do that. So it's not a huge deal to get yourself registered into the circle. And also at that time, when you register into the circle, there is a $20 fee for the year for membership as a circle member. The documents that you'll complete at the circle formation meeting, you don't have to email them to the circle coordinator because the circle coordinator will be there. But if a business counselor chooses to do a circle formation meeting and it's not the circle coordinator, this is the point at which we need to get those documents to the circle coordinator. So that's one kind of point of difference if it's a circle coordinator that conducts the meeting versus one of the business counselors. So at this point, once the documentation is submitted to the circle coordinator, they're going to work on the back end to submit your application as a circle to the PARO board. And while this is happening, you as a circle are going to work on getting your e-fund opened. Because you need that e-fund open before anybody applies for a circle loan, because that's part of the process, is to have enough funds in there to cover one payment. Okay, so the circle e-fund, or the emergency fund for the circle, it's for the purpose of holding funds in reserve, and it's only used to prevent loan defaults. So typically what happens, the circles have to decide how they're going to approach having funds in this account. Most circles, if you are the one that's applying for the loan, then you make one extra payment to the e-fund. That's how they approach that. Is that if you're the one that is getting the loan, then you have to be the one that makes that extra payment. If some circles, they choose to split this up. So the $60 that's required for a first stage, they might all choose to put $15 into the account at that time. The other thing that you can do as a circle is you can choose to fundraise for the funds that go into the e-fund. The e-fund, you don't, as a circle, you don't ever want to have more funds in the e-fund than is absolutely necessary, okay? Because the only point of it is to, if one of your members has applied for a loan and they start to struggle in making their payments, that is held in reserve and you can access that e-fund to make one payment on your loan. Okay, the only reason you can withdraw from the e-fund is in order to help one of your members prevent a default on their loan. Okay, so this isn't a kind of mad money fund. You're not going to have a lot of transactions in and out of this fund. If you decide that your circle wants to have a fund like that, where you're doing let's say you guys all go out for dinner and that's something you've decided to do as a circle and you have money in your circle fund, that's not the e-fund, right? You'll have to have a different fund if the circle decides they want to do something where they have some form of joint monies coming and going from a fund. This is a pretty stagnant fund, really. So it has to have one loan payment for each loan outstanding in it. And this is kind of monitored at time of application. So if you've got 3 people, let's say we've got 3 people that are in stage 1, that fund will need to have 180. There we go. $180 in it. Now, if somebody else comes in and the 4th person wants to apply for a loan, then they need to top the fund up and add their extra payment for that e-fund. So it's a revolving sort of situation with the e-fund. Does anyone have any questions about the e-fund, just kind of off the top of their head? I'm sure as you get further in the process, they'll come up. Okay, so the process and timeline on a funding application for circles. So once you're in a circle, then you can apply for funding. There are a few restrictions on new circles. So in the first 5 months, only half of the members of a circle can apply for funding at one time. Once that circle is established, after that 5-month mark, then all of the circle members can apply for funding. So the deadline for applying for any of the circle funding is always the 15th of the month. You'll work with your counselor and with your circle to get your application together. It's an application form and a cash flow. So you fill those out with your counselor. You're going to take that to your circle for approval from your circle. So this is where the peer lending piece comes in. You're not lending each other money, but it's more of a peer approval process for the circle loans and grants. So you've got your application together. Your circle has approved it. You need to submit 4 pieces of documentation for your complete circle application. So we've got the application form and the cash flow. You'll also need to submit a direct deposit form and a screenshot of your circle's e-fund that shows that it has enough money in it to cover one payment for everybody who's lending right now. So you've got your application together. You've submitted it to the circle's coordinator. Between the 15th and the 20th, and actually between the 15th and the end of the month, there's a bit of a lag time, because what happens there is the circle coordinator is going to process all of the loan applications. They're going to submit them to PARO's board for final approval. They'll be working with the lender to organize dispersal of your loan. And then around the end of the month, you'll get an email that says, congratulations, your loan has been approved, and it will give you instructions on how to claim the non-repayable portion. So that's the grant portion. The grant is it's a reimbursement grant. So what happens is you get the $500 of loan fund for a stage 1 upfront, and then you're going to use that to purchase the items that you said you were going to purchase in your application form, and then you're going to submit those receipts to claim the $500 non-repayable portion. Okay. So I've actually, that was a little bit out of order. Sorry about that. That probably should have been a little further down. But if you, so if you go the second route of joining an existing circle, it's a little bit smoother. Really what happens with that is you, one, still have to make sure that you're connected with a PARO client or a PARO counselor. So you need to have done the intake and onboarded with the counselor. And then you're going to meet with that existing circle. All of the circle members need to have met you before you officially onboard onto that circle. So it has to be a unanimous decision for the circles to add members into the circle. So typically what happens then is somebody lets the circle coordinator know that this member is joining the circle. And then the circle coordinator will guide them in registering into the circle, making sure that their $20 yearly membership has been paid. And in that time in between that, the circle coordinator is going to contact the circle and say, hey, this person's expressed interest in becoming a circle member. Do you guys approve this? So that's kind of either the circle kind of approaches the circle coordinator and lets them know that they want to add a member and they take it from there. But they always need that confirmation from the existing circle members that they are happy to add that new person to their circle. Okay, so once you are in the circle, I got them a little bit out of, I got them a little bit out of order.
We have a question in the chat.
Perfect. Okay, lay it on me.
How is our credit score used or affected by participating in this program?
Okay, so the circle loans are not based on credit. So the lenders may potentially, they may actually pull your credit score, like they may actually look at it, but it won't affect your approval for the lending. So even if your credit is not ideal, then you'll still get approved for this loan as long as your circle approves and the board approves. There is kind of on the positive end of things, they can help you rebuild your credit because these are very accessible loans. You can, as long as you're making the payments, that's what's being reported to the credit bureau. So they can be a positive, they can have a positive impact on your credit score, provided you make your payments and there's no late payments and defaults and that kind of thing. Does that answer it fully?
I can probably kick in something here as well. I've had clients with terrible credit scores go through the process, but by the time they get the first and second stage loan or loan in combination grant and then are looking for the bigger amounts, their credit has, like you said, improved enough that they're able to get those amounts that are strictly loans. So it very much helps them to go through the process to get the larger amounts.
Okay. So a couple keys to circle success is that you want to make sure that you're selecting the right people to join a circle with. There is a level of trust that you need with your circle because you are going to be discussing sensitive information about your business, especially when you're applying for loans. You're going to talk about what you're applying for, what your plans are in your business, how this is going to support you in growing your business. So you want to really make sure that you align to the professional goals and values of the rest of your circle members. You want to know the outcome that you want from the circle and be clear. So it helps to set some communication expectations and boundaries with the circle. Sometimes the circles, they meet and that's it. And sometimes the circles decide they want to have communication more than just at their circle meeting. So as a circle, you guys get to decide how often you want to meet and how you want the communication to happen amongst the circle members. But it might not be a good fit for you if you're in a circle that wants a really high level of communication if you just want to meet once a month for that circle. So finding the kind of the level of engagement that you want in a circle is also important. You do want to be able to commit to a regular meeting time and date for your circle. The expectation is that your circle does meet a minimum of once a month to support each other. And again, you want to establish those communication channels that works for everyone, whether that's email or having a chat group or something like that.
Carmen?
Yes.
We just have a follow-up question about the credit.
Okay. Sure.
What if someone in your group misses payments? Does it affect your credit negatively?
Okay, so that doesn't, it will affect that individual's credit, but it doesn't affect the circle's, it doesn't affect the circle financially in any way. So what happens is if the circle member misses a payment, that's what the e-fund is there for. So ideally, you know you're going to miss the payment and you access the circle fund so you don't miss the payment. If you miss a payment, you are going to be responsible for NSF fees on top of that payment. So it does get a little bit complicated. So if you know you're struggling, we do expect you to go to your circle first and have them get that mobilized so you have that money in your account so you don't miss the payment. That's the whole function and idea of the e-fund, is that level of security for you so you keep those payments, you're able to make those payments. If you miss a payment or there's NSF for that payment and we're kind of working backwards, and typically what happens then is our lenders are going to contact the circle coordinator, which is Kate. Kate is going to contact you to just talk about it and see what the situation is and see if it's just, oh, I forgot to put extra money in that account or whatever the situation is. And then Kate's probably going to be working with your circle and potentially get your counselor involved as well, because we want to make sure that you have the supports you need to make those payments. So it is about accessing your existing supports. So whether you initiate that process or whether after the fact we initiate that process is going to happen. So that's kind of how the e-fund would work on the other end. But the loans and grants themselves are an individual loan and will affect your credit, not the circles, not anybody else in the circles. The only kind of overlap in financial kind of impact you have on each other is that emergency fund. And the emergency fund has some pretty strict guidelines on how it operates.
The emergency fund can only be accessed one time.
Yes.
By each borrower as well.
Correct. Now, so if you do have to access the emergency fund, you will need to make a commitment to repay the emergency fund. Okay, so you'll need to kind of, if you have to access that $60 for a stage one, then you do need to commit to paying it back to the emergency fund. Once you have your $60 in the emergency fund, then you can, if you needed it a second time, you could access it a second time. Okay, does that kind of make sense? But you can't access the $60 that somebody else put in. Right? Because that needs to be there in case they need it for their emergency. Okay, so peer lending, circle loans. I've kind of put a bit of the cart before the horse because I messed up the order of the slides a little bit here. So sorry, forgive me if it's a little bit, and we're kind of going over stuff we've already covered. But the peer lending loans are small business loans. Your circle has to approve you for the lending. So you present your application to your circle first, and the circle is who approves or says, let's go back to the drawing board on this, and helps you work with your application until you get a good plan and a good suggestion. You'll also work with your counselor on the cash flow and the application to get to that point of applying to your circle. So the circle loans, they offer control and ownership over the loan process and repayment to the individual, and it encourages peer support and community participation. There are 4 different stages of circle lending. The first 2 have a non-repayable portion. So stage 1 is a $500 NRP, $500 loan. So again, you get the loan funds and you have to claim the $500 by submitting receipts. And there's a form that goes along with that. Our amortization period is 9 months repayment on this, and your payment is around $60. So it depends on who your lender is, whether this is a little bit less, a little bit more. But these loans, the maximum that any of our lenders can charge on them is 10% interest. So $60 is kind of approximately what your payment will be. And again, the rate needs to be 10% or less. So stage 2. So you have to go through these stages in order from stage 1, I guess up to stage 4, but you need to do 1 and 2 in order for sure. So you have to have paid a stage 1 loan out before you're eligible to access a stage 2 loan. For the stage 1 loans, you need to commit to making 5 payments on a stage 1, so 5 months before you're eligible to pay it out early. And the function of this is to establish credit. If you get the loan and then you pay it out really early, that's not going to help you build your credit and build your business credit. So on the first stage, we ask that the lenders have you make 5 payments before you decide that you clear that loan. But most people, they make the 9 payments, and that's kind of the normal process. For stage 2, it's $1,000 non-repayable, $1,000 loan. There's no restriction on paying stage 2 out early. So if you chose to go through this stage very quickly, you get your reimbursement grant. You could, if you wanted to, apply that whole amount to your loan and clear it out. But typically, we're looking at a 9-month repayment on a second stage loan. The payments are approximately $120 a month. And again, the rate is going to be 10% or less. So for the third stage, it is just a loan. It's $3,000. Your term is 27 months. Payment is, again, $120, and the rate is going to be 10% or less. And the fourth stage is $5,000, and it's just loan. Term is 27 months. Your payment is $220 a month, and your rate is 10% or less. So you can access the non-repayable portion once in a lifetime. It's not tied to your business, it's tied to you as an individual. So you only get the grant portion once, but you can get the loan portion once you've gone through the stages. You can get the loan portion as many times as you want. Okay, and this is why I said we go through it in order, at least for the first 2 stages. But if you wanted to do stage 3 over and over again without ever doing the 4th stage, that's okay. You have that option to do that if you wanted to. Okay, but the first and second stages, you only get to do them once. Okay, no questions on that piece? Okay, so eligibility for some of the circle funding. Only active circle members are eligible to apply for the funding. So you have to be in a circle to apply for the circle funding. The application process takes about a month. So the 15th of the month is when you submit it. Typically, you get the funds for the loan dispersed around between the 15th or the 10th and the 20th, kind of usually about the 15th of the next month. It kind of depends a little bit on the lender. Some of them disperse a little bit early, some of them disperse a little bit later. All funding applications need to be approved by your circle members. We need a minimum of 3 circle members. So if you have more than 4 members in your circle, then we only need 3 to sign off on your application. But once you submit it, your circle members are going to get a DocuSign request to sign off on your application. The loan portion is provided by our lending partners. Now, this is not 100% accurate, so don't look at the slide. Most of any of the urban areas are not assigned by any of the CFDCs. So we have a lending partner that covers any urban areas. So this is Toronto, GTA, Ottawa, but it's also Kitchener, Waterloo, Guelph, Cambridge, Barrie is not assigned, Windsor is not assigned, so London, Ontario is not assigned, Cambridge or Kingston's not assigned. So all of these urban areas are going to be through our lender. That's the credit union, which is Alterna Savings. Most of the rest of Ontario is going to be covered by the local Community Futures Development Corporation. So it just depends on where you are in Ontario, who your lender is going to be. So there's some minor variations in how our lenders are going to process the loans, but for the most part, there's a few. Well, if you've got Alterna, the one big difference is that you need to open a personal Alterna account to have the funds dispersed to and make your payments from. So that's the one big difference in how you'll experience that as a client. The rest of that, the rest of the differences mostly happen on the back end. So you won't really notice a lot of differences beyond that. For Alterna loans, you do need to open your own personal account and the funds have to go in and out of that. So the non-repayable portion, it is a reimbursement grant. So you don't get the funds up front. You will receive those funds once you submit receipts for them. You have 3 months to submit your receipts and claim your non-repayable portion or your grant portion. So it's important that you are on top of it so that you don't miss the window to claim the grant. Okay. We, the circle coordinators, make sure we email you probably once a month from the time of your application to check in with you and make sure you know how to access this money. So do follow and look at your email once in a while to make sure that you get that reminder to claim your NRP. The stages, they're accessed consecutively. So stage 1 and 2 once per lifetime. And then 3 and 4, you can access these stages an unlimited amount of times after that. And your e-fund does have to have 1 month's payment in reserve in the e-fund in case you need it for an emergency. So the grants or NRPs, non-repayable portion, you have, again, eligibility for this. You need to be an active member of a circle. You must be a woman-owned business or enterprise. You have to have the peer approval to apply for it. And there's 3 criteria that you'll have to select on your application form. So 2 of them are pretty clear. The other one is where everybody else falls. So the first one is that if your after-tax income meets the low income cutoff for your community, you can select that as an eligibility criteria. Or if you have 1 or more disabilities that limit your employability, you can also select that as a criteria. If neither of those apply to you, you're going to select the currently unemployed or will become unemployed in the near future. Basically, what this is saying is you're self-employed, right? So that's the selection that most circle members will make. Or if you feel like you don't qualify for the other 2 eligibility criteria, that is the one that you're going to select, that middle one there. Okay, so what's next? We need to get you guys in some circles. So you're going to want to start mobilizing your existing network and see if anybody's interested in joining you in this great experience of having peer support and the circle funding and all the things that go along with it. You want to get in touch with your counselor. They can give you the link to that form that I was talking about where we can help you match with other people looking for circles. We've got a Facebook, a Circle Up Facebook page if you'd like to join that as well. But basically, you want to talk to your counselor and they're going to help you get involved with all the other networking opportunities that we have.
We also, sorry to interrupt,
No.
Tina did post that she's a member of a circle and they have some availability in their circle and they're looking to add at least 1 new member. You're looking to join a circle. We have an upcoming online monthly meeting this Thursday, September 14th, where you can attend to observe our group. Email her for more details. We can also set up a quick one-to-one chat to help you decide. And she's posted her email and her cell number if you want to text her. So that is the very top message in our group chat. So if anyone's interested in that, that could be a good opportunity.
So if you are interested in joining an existing circle, if you want to follow up with Kate on that opportunity, her email is circles@paro.ca. So she'll connect you with that circle that's looking for another member. That's great. Thanks. Okay, so we've got a few different circles in the spotlight. We've got and this is actually, we need to update this. We've got over 200 circles now in Ontario. And a lot of the circles are doing some really amazing things in their communities. So if you have any questions, please feel free to get a hold of us. If anyone has any questions now, we'd love to answer them. I'm just trying to figure out how to stop sharing here.
Oh, we have a question in the chat.
Okay.
Can you please give an example of what happens in a monthly meeting?
Okay, so actually, sorry, I'm just going to figure out how to stop this share. Does anyone know why? Oh, there we go. Stop share. Woo! Okay, so what happens typically in a monthly meeting is that circle members are going to get together and support each other in whatever capacity they need. A lot of times it really varies depending on what the needs of the circle are. It's really funny. I had a meeting with one of the CFDCs, and they were both men. And they were like, so what do they talk about? Like it was this big mystery. But most of the time you're talking about your businesses. If you have, let's say, you're working on a marketing campaign and you want to run it by some of your peers, some of your circle members, and see if they have any experience with that, or they have any input for you. Maybe you're talking about a struggle you're having with a client, or maybe you want to talk about an upcoming sale or promotion that you're working on. It really can span a whole variety of different topics, depending on what you need, what your circle members need, what kind of support you have to offer each other. There are a couple elements of, let's call it business, that the circle does have to take care of. So if the circle has anybody who wants to apply for a circle loan, that is something that the circle has to kind of prioritize taking care of. So what that looks like is you receive the application from the person wanting to apply. They're going to present their case to the circle, and the circle is going to say, yes, this is a great idea, we approve you, and then you'll submit your application kind of after the circle approves. So that's something that's kind of an order of business that the circle does have to take care of. Another thing is if your circle is dropped down to below 4 members, as a circle, you're going to want to start to figure out how to bring another member on board, whether that's using your existing networks and finding another person that you'd like to bring into your circle, or whether you talk to Kate and see what opportunities there are and what people are looking for circles at that time. So those are two that are kind of the business you have to take care of, but then the rest is very open to how you want to, discuss and work with each other and support. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, Carmen, I do have one.
Sure.
Just a good segue to this. Do PARO, either you or Kate or other coordinator, do you ever kind of mingle and participate in the different circles meetings, or are they 100% independent and they choose, their topics and their exchanges and the directions that it takes?
Sure. That's up to the circle.
Okay.
The circle can invite someone from PARO to attend. So you're welcome to attend as long as you're invited as a PARO staff.
Okay.
So
I'll make another comment here. I did have 2 circles who would sometimes meet together. And I think it's important, as you noted, that every circle is facing different issues in their members. So they all do different things. But I've also had several PARO circles, and I think they were one of the winners of some of the awards a few years ago, do a lot of fundraising in their community. So their bank account isn't necessarily just the emergency amount. Some groups bring an extra $2 every week. Some groups work together in their sales and will donate something. Some groups will do a different event. But a lot of the groups, I would say, do different fundraising in their community through their circles.
Just a point of clarification on that. Technically, those circles should have the e-fund and a separate account for anything else. So the e-fund shouldn't be that kind of that operational account, if you know what I mean, you know, for making donations or, you know, whatever you want to do with that fundraising piece. So just sometimes things happen like that, and it might be operating, but if and there's an easy fix to this is when you set up your e-fund, you can set up a checking for the e-fund and a savings, or, you know, other way around. So you can set up the checking and the saving, and one of them's the e-fund and one of them is that circle's discretionary fund. So that's yeah. But that is, yeah, so when circles work together in their communities, they develop some really good deep bonds with each other, which is an amazing way to support each other too. Anything else? Okay, so in terms of follow-up, anyone who is looking for a circle, get in contact with your counselor for kind of next steps on accessing some of those networking opportunities that we have. And thank you everyone for coming today.
Thank you, everyone. Nice meeting you.